All right, we live, baby.
Let me post it.
What's going on, everybody? We gonna kick it live like this. I know we got a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's Monday, so why wouldn't we have anything going on? But what up? What it is? What's popping? It's the neighborhood nice guy, KDot, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Keeping It 9450, codename WBB. We are back. It is our flagship pod for everything's women's hoops. Of course, riding shotgun with me tonight is the one and only Lolivia Pope. You know how we do it. We're blessed. We're black. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. Can't complain.
I hear that. Well, we have a lot to unpack from the announcement of the expansion teams to trades that happened
Hmm.
to the Valkyries doing some work. So tonight's episode is going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we're going to pay homage to the GOAT, Candace Parker. Obviously, you can see we're repping to the fullest. So let's get locked in and started. So I want to go out west first, right? Because there is a team out there, and we're not talking about the Sparks out in California, that is putting up like crazy numbers. They look real good. When they're in their arena, it looks mad fun just
Yeah.
to be in, just to be a part of. And who am I talking about? We're talking about the Golden State Valkyries, right? The
Yeah.
expansion team, but an expansion team that has tons of energy right now that's looking real playoff-ish. I know it's way early, so I'm not
Hmm.
saying that they're a playoff team, but the atmosphere, the way that they're playing at home in Valhalla, like they feel like a playoff team. And right now they're 9-7, hovering in that 6 seed range, and they're turning heads with their
Hmm.
physicality, with their home court vibes, and the Chase Center is selling out like it's the playoffs already. So I do ask you, Lo, what do we think about this Valkyries team in the way that Coach Natalie Nakase has this team going? And is it too early to tell for them to be a legit playoff contender?
My short answer is I think that they will make the playoffs, actually. Um,
Ooh.
Depending on where they finish in the season, like in regards to the standings, I think that they can possibly upset a team. If not upset them, I think that they can push the series out. And again, I know it's very early, but when you look at the principles and the things that Natalie is building that team around, they have something special going on there down in the Bay. And again, she handpicked this roster, and it's just working out extremely well for them. She has them fully bought in. So far this season, like they've actually beat quality teams too. They beat the Aces before, they beat Seattle twice, they beat Indiana, and even in the losses that they've had, they've competed for 40 minutes. And so again, I want to send my sincerest apologies to Golden State because after that expansion draft, I was talking cash shit. I just did not foresee it being this, especially in year one. But player 1 through 12 knows their role and they play it well. They don't try to do much like outside of their role or no one's really trying to be like that star player. Like they win by committee. So something that has impressed me the most is their defense. Right now they're ranked number 2 in defensive rating. The only defense that's better, of course, is the Minnesota Lynx. But defensively, they just have integrated. They go into zone sometimes. They do a lot of switching. They're in your face. They're guarding you 94 feet. And then also on the flip side, they're the number 1 ranked team in rebounds per game. So with those two metrics alone, they the two things that stick out in that is that they show effort every night and they work extremely hard because defense and rebounding require effort. And they do that for 40 minutes. So before I pass it back to you, K-Dot, I just have to shout out to Kayla Thornton. She is playing her ass off this season. Like she has literally been hooping. Went from being waived early in her career to now leading this team in three major categories, being scoring 15 points per game, rebounding at 6.9 per game, and steals at 1.6 per game. Like, they've been doing all of this with players over the water. They've been doing all of this with Tiffany Hayes missing a lot of games, and that's supposed to be their franchise player. So it almost seems like it doesn't matter who Natalie brings in. She has them locked in. They know their role, and they're just playing hard for 40 minutes. I mean, you can look at LA coming back after she's been waived. She had 15 points the other game. You can look at Caitlin Chin getting minutes and playing well in those minutes. So no matter who they're bringing in, they're locked in and they're playing well. And that is a testament to how good the coaching and the culture is over there.
Yeah, I 1000% agree right there. I think that they're extremely good. And they've shown it in the vast majority of their games. I know that the game against the New York Liberty was a close one. I know that they took a L there. However, they've been showing that they can ball. And like you said, the pieces that they have, they just fit perfectly for the system that Coach Natalie Nakase is running in Golden State. And one thing that I do want to shout out Leticia Amy here because she has been phenomenal in her role. You know, like she is doing exactly what we saw at South Carolina, extremely versatile, can handle the rock if she needs to, can block shots if she needs to, can guard 1 through 5 if she needs to, and just making incredible plays. And you mentioned Kayla Thornton. I have to give a shout out to her as well. Going from being someone who knew their role in New York to now being kind of like the focal point of the offense in Golden State has just been, amazing. And I'm not going to, go on too much of a tangent for Golden State because I want to give them their flowers, but I want to keep it there, because I think I have a jinx, to be honest with you. I don't like every time I talk good about a team, then suddenly they just go go awry. So I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna keep it kind of clean at where we're at now. But I do want to pivot a little further south to LA. So this past weekend, greatness got its moment. The Sparks officially retired Candace Parker's number 3 jersey, and it was emotional. And I think that, from Lisa Leslie being in the building, to a lot of others being in the building, her tribute video, her speech, like the whole thing was just amazing. And of course, she lives by Hove. So I think that from that standpoint, like her flowers are definitely, something that is for sure needed. And Candace Parker, like, just obviously hands down one of the greatest players we've seen in basketball history. And
Yeah,
I just wanted to, kind of give that shout out to her because for her, for her to be MVP and Rookie of the Year and to win a national championship all in one year, like that's
don't
first off,
forget
is
the Olympic gold medal
and
too.
the Olympic gold medal. Like that is unheard of. Unheard of. So I want to give this time for you to give Candace Parker all of her flowers because that's your goal. And
Absolutely.
you don't
And
play
don't,
about Candace
and
Parker.
don't.
You don't play about CP3. So I want to give you this opportunity to just lay out all of the flowers and all of the things for our GOAT, Candace Parker.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that has heard me talk about women's basketball for more than 2 minutes knows how I feel about this woman. I'm just blessed that I got to watch her entire career from high school to retirement, and I'm just grateful that the hoops community is celebrating her while she's still here to receive her flowers. I remember as a high schooler, like literally cutting out newspaper clippings from when they won the national championship back to back. And I literally would plaster them like on the outside of my door. I had it all throughout my room. I had different clippings and different things of her. Like that's how much of a fan I was. I literally remember skipping school in high school the day that they played LSU and she had hurt her shoulder the game before that. I was so nervous, like I was suiting up for the game that I literally skipped school. Like so when I
You
talk
and
about Candace Parker,
you
like
and me, bro.
it means a little bit a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? Like what you saying,
I
KDot?
feel you on that way. I
Yeah,
feel you on
like
that
I
one.
like a lot of my family didn't watch outside of me playing in high school. They didn't watch women's basketball, but
Hmm.
every single person in my family knows who Candace Parker is simply because
Facts.
of the admiration and just like the legacy that she has left behind, and just by knowing me and my um, appreciation just for what she's done to the game and what she's left, how she's left the game behind. So people, like I always say, people use the word generational talent extremely loosely. But when real hoop heads talk about a transcendent talent, you're talking about Candace Nicole Parker. Um, I would say Shamika Holdsclaw was probably the first forward I remember getting the rebound and running the break. But
Hmm.
Candace Parker took over and added more to that. Like,
Right.
this was someone that was 6'4", grabbing the board, giving you an in and out between her legs, going down, can finish with both hands, can hit you with a fadeaway. She likes a little turn and over the right left shoulder. Just so many moves, just so versatile. And it was my first time seeing a woman at that height doing the things that she could do on the basketball court. So I was just enamored. We're talking about a three-time WNBA champion, a two-time MVP, like KDot said, Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. And I'll go as far as to say that Candace Parker had the greatest year out of any athlete I've ever seen. Like
Hands
that
down.
2008 year. So you're
Hands
not
down.
only, so yes, she won a national championship, but when we say that, we got to put back to back because that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like a back to back national championship with a messed up rotator cuff.
Right.
Then the day after you win the Natty, you get drafted to the WNBA playing with, a pioneer of the game and Lisa Leslie had
Facts.
34 points and I think 12 boards your first game, almost had a triple double and
Facts.
almost had 40 if she missed her free throws.
Facts.
And they played the Phoenix Mercury who won the year before. So it wasn't like they was playing
Facts.
scrubs, right?
Facts.
So then she went on to win MVP Rookie of the Year that season. That summer, went on to win the Olympic gold medal and was pregnant during some of this. Like,
Facts.
what are we
Keep
talking
going.
about? Like,
Keep
one of the
going.
best to ever touch a basketball. The accolades can go on and on. And I'm just always excited when players now break some type of record because I know that sentence is always going to include my GOAT. It's always going to say something like the first since Candace Parker. And so that's why when people try to have the GOAT conversation with me or they want to go back and forth, I know what I saw. Like battling injury after injury, having a child and coming back weeks later, being voted most overrated by her peers to shutting them all up by adding more to her trophy case and overall accolades. Like her jersey retirement was more than deserving, a special moment for her and her family. But as you could also see amongst the young players that were playing yesterday, the Sparks versus Chicago, it meant a lot for her just essentially being in her presence. Like when I grew up, Cynthia Cooper was my favorite player. Like that's someone I aspired to be like. But these
Right.
kids now they're born in the 2000s. Candace Parker is that for them. Like you saw how giddy and happy Angel got to just run over to give her a quick hug and just say something to her. So I think it's dope that her talent has transcended beyond just the basketball realm. And now she's doing her big one in the business realm with leading the basketball sector at Adidas and commentating and just doing whatever she wants to do. She's just a pillar for women's basketball, a pillar for Black women, and just showing that no ceilings, no glass ceiling truly exist.
Yeah.
So my forever GOAT, argue with whoever y'all want to argue with, but none of y'all GOAT won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. And I can guarantee you it's probably not going to happen again.
Listen, and I want to give someone a huge shout out because the person who actually made sure the game matched the moment didn't even have a Sparks jersey on. They had on a Chicago Sky jersey, and that was Angel Reese.
Yeah.
26 points, you know, 16, 17 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the stats right in front of me.
7 assists.
However, 7 assists. Listen, the way that she played and the
Mm.
way that she graced the floor in front of Candace Parker yesterday was just simply amazing.
Yeah.
Like her as the facilitator of the offense is a dangerous Angel Reese. And she has finally, and Coach Tyler Marsh, I believe, has finally, to me, cracked the code on how to utilize Angel in the
Correct.
way that we need to see her. Um, she's admitted herself that she hasn't played well, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want in a player like Angel Reese. She understands the moment. She
Right.
understands that she needed to play better, but she also understands how to adapt, and she also understands that her development is still going to take some time, and she has done an amazing job. And yesterday proved that. Like
Yeah.
that game wasn't a fluke. To do that in front of one of the greatest basketball players of all time in Candace Parker, that's reminiscent of
Yeah.
what Candace Parker would be doing
Right.
at the then Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena. Like
Yeah.
that's literally what you would have seen if you were in that era of Candace Parker. So I did want to give her flowers on that as well. So I mean, beyond happy for Candace Parker in August, Chicago will retire her jersey, which is phenomenal. Again,
Just make
you
her the
know,
logo, Kathy. Go ahead
yeah,
and make her the
just
logo.
yeah, make it a low. I love it. I love it.
Gotta include the baby hairs though if you do it.
Got to. I don't know how you do that in the silhouette,
Right.
but you
Right.
got to some little lines or something, But so much grace for Candace Parker.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of my all-time favorite players, and she is indeed loved here at the 9450. So let's kind of stay on the power forward tip because like something happened today that I don't know if it's a wow factor for a lot of people.
Hmm.
Maybe, for fans, Aces fans in particular, but we got some trade moves that happened today. So the Las Vegas Aces um traded uh their 2027
Hmm.
first round pick and acquired NaLyssa Smith from the Dallas Wings. This move gives them another rebounder, possible paint presence, possible 4-5 position that can stretch out to the 3-point line alongside Asia Wilson. And depending on how Coach Becky Hammond plays this might be, something spectacular. There were a lot of there were a lot of critiques about the trade. I don't know if I would go into the type of critique that we want. However, a lot of people did question the 2027 pick. Remember, this 2027 pick is 2 years away. I know this is the infamous Juju draft,
Hmm.
if you will. So a lot of people, had their reservations about it. Uh, just for me,
Hmm.
before I ask for your impression of it, um, I'm kind of indifferent, to be honest with you, Lo. I'm very indifferent about the trade. I like NaLyssa Smith. She did an amazing job in Indiana her second year when Aaliyah Boston came in. It was very, very highly productive. And
Hmm.
that was coming off of, if I'm not mistaken, coming off a spectacular AU season, where she won AU. And I could have those years mixed up, but I just don't know. I have to see the product on the floor.
Yeah.
And I just don't have an adequate analysis of it because we all know that Asia can adapt and
Yeah.
she will adapt. She doesn't care. She's going to get her numbers by any means necessary. But I want to see what NaLyssa does from an adaptation standpoint. She said that she was excited. She's bummed to leave Dallas, obviously, um,
Yeah.
for more than one reason, of course, but she is very excited to play along. She said to play alongside her GOAT. And that to me is encouraging,
Yeah.
because to have a lineup of Asia, Melissa, Jackie, Jewel, and Chelsea on paper, that looks real. It sounds solid. It looks
Agreed.
solid, but we have to see what the product is on the floor. So what was your first impression of the deal, And, with this acquisition, can the Aces finally gear up, and actually turn that switch on so that they can compete for that top four spot?
So initially when I heard it, the first thing I thought about was the pick. I'm not gonna lie. Like the first thing I thought about was the pick, but once I took the emotion out of it, I'm with you. Like the thing that I wrote down about it is I'm indifferent because I truly just don't know. I think NaLyssa, my first reaction is I think NaLyssa makes them marginally better. She will provide more on the offensive end than Kia Stokes. And I think rebounding is very big for her. When she had her best season in Indiana, she was averaging 9 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? So that'll be big for them. And I think if me and Becky are thinking the same way, I think she slides Asia to the 5 and start NaLyssa at the 4. So my two initial hesitations on the trade were the fact that the Aces traded a first rounder in 2027, and like you eloquently said, KDot, we've been talking about it for years, even though we're still 2 years out. We've been talking about it for years how stacked this draft class is going to be. So of course, the possibility of getting Juju, depending on whether she red shirts or not, Hannah Hildago, Maddie Booker, Fo Wiley, MK, like they have some names in this draft, and these are names that can come in and help your team right off back, like we've seen the last two draft class do. Um, so I know a lot of people are thinking, well, the Aces may not get a lottery pick, but this draft class has so much potential. I'm willing to take my chances. I'm not going to lie because anything can happen. Unfortunately, injuries happen. One of their best players can get injured, and that changes the trajectory of the whole season. So I'm personally not trading the pick unless I know that that trade will help us win a championship now. Not now, but right now. That's the only way I'm trading that pick. And I don't think NaLyssa moves it to that level. I don't think it puts them ahead of Minnesota, and I don't think it puts them ahead of a healthy New York team. Secondly, the Aces have needed a center for the last 4 years, and that's me being generous. NaLyssa is another big body in the post, but she's not a center. And it doesn't fix the issues to me, like in regards to them playing, them having another center that can also score because we all know that, we know that Kia Stokes doesn't actively look for her shot. So therefore the defense plays her differently because of that. So when I took a step back and truly looked at the trade, I think they knew that they had to switch and shake something up because their current roster was just so limited. Their current roster was just not cutting it. And when you look at how limited available bigs are in the league, they did the best that they could do, honestly. Like in trying to get someone that could help them now, someone that can also provide size, someone that can also put the basketball in the hoop because that's what they need. They needed somebody else to score. It's been way too many games where Kia is getting 0 points. She's starting, getting over 20 minutes and scoring 0 points. So we do know that NaLyssa will produce more than scoring a goose egg, okay, in consecutive games. Um, I think her signing with them will assist in terms of helping them win more games than they would have won if they didn't sign her. But in my opinion, it's just still not a championship team. Now, after saying all of this, I want to be clear that none of this is a slight to NaLyssa. She's a hooper through and through. Like Kate, I said,
Absolutely.
let's not forget she was the number 2 overall pick literally 4 years ago. I think she hasn't showcased her full abilities yet. And I think being under Asia will be one of the best things to catapult her career forward. Because I don't know if y'all remember that clip online, but um, it was during the game and Asia was literally giving her tips like during the game. And people was like, bro, Asia's a girl's girl. Like she's really trying to show her the rope. So imagine if this girl is already idolizing her, she's going to take heed in what Asia has to say. And listen, when you watch the one of the greatest players to ever play basketball every day in practice, when you get to play games with her, you're going to take something away from that. So I think it'll be good for her career because her career has been very rocky. She started off well the first 2 years in Indiana, and then Caitlin Clark and AB came, and then the offense went from NaLyssa getting touches and getting her number called to it being Caitlin Clark and AB centric, which I get it. They're your two best players. So of course she's going to get less touches, but I think people were very hard on her last year, not realizing that this is a player that averaged 13 and 7 as a rookie. This is a player that the following year increased that and averaged 15 and 9, almost a double double. So we have to realize that the fit and her, like how she was used with the fever, might not necessarily have been the best situation for her. And I'm curious to see how Becky utilizes her, and I'm curious to see how all of them gel. But overall, I mean, the fans, the Aces fans wanted them to make a move, and they did.
Hey, that's indeed true. And before we jump subjects, I do want to add, and you did an incredible job assessing that, Lo. It gets to a point where players have to be comfortable in certain situations. And unfortunately for NaLyssa Smith, she hasn't been comfortable in a lot of those situations. You look at her rookie year, they weren't the best, right? They were bottom feeders of the league. She got her numbers, but they were bottom feeders of the league. And we're talking about a head coach, I believe a first year head coach at that point, that was still trying to get in, to kind of like the ropes. You switch over. Well, I'm sorry, she switched coaches because her rookie year she didn't. I don't think she had Christy size. I think her second year is when Christy came, and then her third year is when Caitlin came. If
Right.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been
Consistency.
stability and
Yeah.
consistency in her career yet. And then you up and get traded to Dallas, and that doesn't start off well at all with another rookie that was or is getting headlines, and
And
you're
another rookie
still
head coach.
and another rookie head coach. So like the stability and the inconsistency for NaLyssa Smith's career, um, it's really I'm just going to be very very honest. It has been unfair to her. I'm going to give her that from that standpoint. And of course she's tried to maintain a state of professionalism.
Hmm.
Yes, she had her moments, right? But what athlete doesn't have their moment? When things don't necessarily go their way, but hopefully this will be for real a fresh brand new start
Yeah.
with a team that understands winning, with a team that understands the moment, and hopefully she can thrive and flourish in that moment, with all of these all-stars that she has on her team now. And speaking of all-stars, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of these all-star starters, right? So the all-star starters were announced on today, and of course, everybody once again up in arms about certain starters,
Yeah.
which is again to me, I'm glad I wasn't a voter this year. Like shout out to all the voters from a media standpoint, but I was glad that I wasn't a voter this year. I saw a lot of what the transparency was with a lot of the people that did vote, and respectfully, I respect your picks, um, but the starters. Let's start off with the captains.
Hmm.
Nafisa Collier and Caitlin Clark have been announced captains.
Hmm.
And what first before we get into the full list of the starters, what was your take on the two captains?
It's just a popularity contest. That's all it was.
I agree. Because yeah, I agree. I won't get into I won't get into that. But
I
we
mean,
do
how can
have
you be a
some
captain when you played 9 games this season?
right. Like let's be very, very realistic about this, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Like it's not hating when it's just being truthful. Like it is what it is. But I do want to shout out Alicia Gray because she is a first time starter, three-time
Yeah.
All-Star, first time starter. Like she is hooping
Hmm.
right now, and she definitely deserved it. And based off of the returns of the voting, you can see that she has tremendous respect to from the media members and from her peers.
Yeah.
Looking at how they quantified the way that the starters were selected, she was one of the ones. Um, and I am extremely happy for Alicia Gray. Like she deserved it. Like,
Yeah.
and not deserved it from a sense of someone else, like no, she literally put in the work and she's reaping the benefits of her putting in that work. So I did want to talk about Alicia, like just right there, because like she is hooping this year
I'm not gonna
and
lie.
she
She
got
look
them.
she looking like the franchise player over there. I ain't gonna lie. No
I,
disrespect. She looking like the
nah,
franchise player.
like I respect it a lot, and I love the relationship that her and Ryan has,
Yeah.
right? Because like Ryan is the type of person that she knows she's gonna get hers. Like
Yeah.
she knows it. Does she really care to, I guess, be the like the absolute focal point?
Right.
I don't think she does. Like
I don't think so
she
either.
wants to win.
Yeah.
And she's going to do it by any means necessary. You've seen what she's done playing 1 through 4 this year defensively, and is having a great defensive year.
She needs to
Might I
be on an
add,
all defensive team.
she
Has to
really
be.
does. If she keeps this up, she really does. So for her to take the mantle and say, "Hey, Alicia, like we know you are the bucket. Like we know you are the franchise player. Go ahead and do you. Like, stop worrying about me. Go ahead and do you. Like, you can tell."
Yeah.
And their relationship and friendship is remarkable, and that's why Alicia Gray is a an all-star starter. Um, Skylar Diggins is not an all-star starter, and that doesn't sit well with me. I know we've had a conversation offline,
Yeah.
about this, and we both agree. Of course, I gave you kind of like I literally gave you, you know how I do it. Like you don't like when I do it, but I literally gave you what would you call it? The absolute politically
Right.
correct, the
Yeah.
most political type correct statement ever as to why she wasn't a
Look,
starter.
I was heated before they even announced the starters. I was heated when
So
we got the first return back.
So like I know, and I know that conversation was very the conversation was, first off, it wasn't animated at all. Like we
Right.
legit just had the most, like, the conversation itself was just so funny because we both feel the way that we feel, but it's like, dang, like, dude, like, why everything has to be politically correct?
Yeah.
Let's stop with the politically correctness. And I'm sorry, guys. For those that are listening, we were talking about the idea of Sabrina Ionescu, being a starter versus Skylar versus Caitlin versus Paige, in this realm, and you can take any one of those players out and put Skylar in, to be honest with you. And like Skylar deserves that starting position. The way that she's been playing and the way that NECA has been playing, who is also a starter, might I add. They're doing phenomenal things with the Seattle Storm. I know that they laid an egg last night versus Golden
Yeah, they
State,
did.
but I think that from what they've been to what they are now, like it's Skylar and NECA leading the charge in that.
Correct.
And you have to reward that. And we just felt like Skylar deserved that nod. And respectfully, I did kind of defend Sabrina. She is having, or currently, having a good season. I know this neck thing is bothering her.
Hmm.
It's to me, it seems that all of these weird injuries that Sabrina has is always bothering. It's always like a bothersome type injury. But for her, she's averaging almost 20 points per game. Shooting it at a okay clip. Um, and compared to Skylar, I think they're kind of like neck and neck. But if you look at impact, To me, Skylar impacts the Storm more than Sabrina impacts the Liberty because I feel like there's a number of people that impact the Liberty a little bit more,
Correct.
and we can kind of see that right now with their slump. So respectfully, we do believe that Skylar deserved that starter nod. She's going to be an all-star. No doubt about it. If she's not an all-star, something's wrong, like for real. Like
Yeah.
something is wrong. But I think that, in that retrospect, I think that she does deserve the starting, nod. But what are your thoughts on the all-star starters? And what do you think about the whole idea of um, this lineup, coming into All-Star weekend?
I just want to start off by saying that the WNBA has to get rid of the fan voting being 50%, weighed 50% of the votes. Like it has, they have to get rid of it. Like maximum it should be 25% because it's truly ridiculous and it's truly like disgusting to be honest. Like when I saw the captains, I'm like, I get it. I understand the politics behind it. I understand that Caitlyn is going to be a starter no matter how she's played because the game is in Indiana and she's one of, if not the most popular WNBA player currently, right? She's brought so many eyes to the league. I get the politics behind it, but it's literally not rewarding people that actually deserve that spot. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that I have. So, because you mentioned Skylar, I'm going to go a little bit further with Skylar because I was very irritated about her not. I was very irritated about where she stood on the list. I think from a fan voting standpoint, I think she was like 24th on the list or something crazy like that. But when you're looking at when you're if we're being honest, when you use the eye test and then the numbers to back it, Skylar Diggins has been the best point guard to begin this year. Like Leash has been playing good, but she's not a point guard. So Skylar Diggins has been the best point guard to start the year. She's averaging 18.9 points per game, 2.2 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, while shooting 46% from the floor and 41% from long distance. So let's compare the guards that were picked over her. Caitlin Clark, she's averaging 18.2 points per game, 5 boards, 8 assists per game, shooting 39% from the floor and 29% from long distance, averaging 6 turnovers per game. So Skylar is scoring, they're scoring about the same. They're both at 18 points per game. Skylar's shooting the ball better from the floor and from deep. She's also protecting the ball better because she only has 2 turnovers per game. And while also being the point of attack defender on the defensive end. So no one expected Seattle to be, I mean, I know they're very inconsistent, but no one's expected for Seattle to be a top 5 team when Jewel left. So Caitlin over there in Indiana, they built a team around her to go win a championship. She has more pieces on her team than Skylar does on the Seattle Storm. And we also have to realize that Jordan Horson, a big part of this team, is out for the whole season. So the fact that her and NECA still has this team competing at a high level when they can consistently want to actually play basketball, like it's something to be said about that. Not to mention, Caitlin has played 9 total games this season. She's missed more than half of the games her team has played. How is that an all-star starter? Like and I get it. They voted before this. They voted for like I know the media and I'm sure the players voted like maybe 10 to 12 games into the season, but we got to bring something back and change some things. There's no way that somebody that only played 9 games should be a starter. I'm so sorry. I don't care who you are. And I get it. Politics are involved because the game is in Indiana, like I already said. But when you look at Skylar, she was ranked the ninth guard by fan voting, fourth by the media, and third by players in regards to best guard in the leagues to start the year. So it's just a very big gap between what the fans are voting and what like actual media members that watch the game and what her peers think. We'll use another player, Sabrina. She's scoring 18.6 points per game, 4 boards, 5 assists, while shooting 40% from the field and 32% from long distance. Sabrina has been playing great this year, but the math ain't mathing to me. When compared to Skylar, her and Sabrina are averaging the same points. Outside of that, The only other category Sabrina is better than Skylar at this year is rebounding. Again, Skylar's shooting better from the field. She's shooting better from long distance. She's defending the best guard on the opposite team more times than not. Sabrina is certainly not doing that. And then when you look at team construction, like you said earlier, K Dot, yes, the Liberty are battling injuries, but the team is stacked nonetheless. Over in Seattle, people, like I said, they didn't have high expectations for them. So I say all this is say like it's 100% politics. Skylar is outperforming both of those players that I just listed, and the numbers are there. Like the numbers are literally there. So people can get mad at me saying this, but you can't argue numbers. What did they say? Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't. The numbers are there.
Yeah, numbers don't lie at all. And that's just with respect to how we need to kind of reevaluate how we vote. Um, if you want it to be a popularity contest, then find something else to play with. Um, my thing is before we move on to the very last thing, because I want to mention the announcement of expansion.
Hmm.
With this All-Star thing, like I get it. You want to have you want it to be fun. You want your favorite players to be in the All-Star
Correct.
game. But at the same time, I do believe that the criteria just needs to be a little bit different from a calculation standpoint. The fans definitely deserve to be involved, but maybe they have a little bit too much say in who's in, who's out, and things of that nature. Or if you want to do one better, if you want to keep the All Star the way that you want it, be more intentional about your all WNBA selections when you're having certain voters vote for that.
Right.
Yeah,
And I want to say
yeah, I
something
see
about
that.
that really quickly too. Y'all have to be easy on these media voters. Like, first they complained about the media voters hiding their votes. Now when they're finally transparent, it's a problem too. If these are the people that they think deserve it, this is who they voted for. Like, you're not going to change their opinion on it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So calling them names, being disrespectful, like what's the point? We just have a difference of opinion, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Respectfully, as a
okay.
fan, you voted for who you wanted to vote for. And I mean, other fans are probably going to get on you. And what are you going to say? I don't care. I like
Right.
that player.
Right.
From a media standpoint, it's a little bit different. I get that, but they are supposed to look at it from an objective lens.
Yeah.
Some of them, if they're beat heavy, is not going to be as objective because they're going to look at their beat player
Right.
as such. That's
Yeah.
how it works. I mean, that's with any sport when it comes to voting. But before we get out of here, the WNBA at 10 o'clock at 10 o'clock a.m. this morning announced that there were going to be three new franchises coming in the next 5 years. One of them, well, let's say all three: Cleveland, um, Philadelphia, and Detroit. And this is exciting news, but again, when we're talking about expansion, even though it's exciting news, rollout is just so confusing. Um,
Yeah.
10 o'clock, we get a media members get an email, and then come to find out there were certain amount of media members that actually got an actual invitation to be in New York for this announcement. So even though it's exciting, it was very, 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 very funny the way that the rollout came about. I'm excited for Detroit, Cleveland, and Philly. They're going to get franchises. I think the latest franchise would be Philly in 2030, Cleveland I think in 2028, and Detroit in 2029. As reported earlier this morning via Twitter, courtesy of the 9450. But I think it's amazing for these cities to adopt some new franchises. I would like to see some franchises develop in the South. We got one in Nashville. They Even though that they put a bid in, they were disappointed not to be selected this time around. Um, we have Charlotte as well, but the South has something to say as well. for these expansions. And, even though we talk about expansion from a team standpoint, we also need to continue to talk about expansion from a roster standpoint. Yes, I know it's a CBA thing. Hopefully that's in this new CBA coming up. But no, nevertheless, it's an exciting uh venture, for these cities. What are your quick thoughts on those, Low?
I'm like in a weird kind of space with it because expansion means more WNBA players will get an opportunity. I think the league is growing too quickly.
Yeah,
I'm very concerned actually. Um, because you're talking about five expansion drafts in a span of 6 years. Like that's very worrisome to me. And I know people are like, "Oh, it's so much talent out there," but is it that much talent that quick? That the WNBA can always hang its hat on being the best women's basketball league in the world. I think we're going to see the talent level drop off a little bit because they're going to have to fill out these rosters. I think we're going to see a lot more international players to fill out
absolutely.
these rosters. And I think maybe that's their goal into making it more global because I know on the NBA side, when the NBA was failing, David Stern made an effort, a decision to purposely market the NBA globally so that they
Right.
can also get revenue from them, and so that they also can get viewership from them. So I'm wondering if that's the move that Kathy is thinking it's going to make. But I'm not going to lie, my first reaction was like, oh, this is great. The WNBA is expanding. We don't have to watch the same teams play six damn times. But in the back of my head, it's also like, is it happening too quickly? Like why 5 and 6 years type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my only hesitancy. I just feel like right now in the WNBA, it's the best players in the world. By
Absolutely.
2030, I don't know if it's going to be the best players in the world.
Absolutely. And that's fair. That's definitely fair to assess. Because again, like we're talking about three new teams, five total in the span of like 6 years.
Yeah.
Like that is definitely something. And again, we can be happy for it, but we can also be, a little bit concerned about
Yeah.
the quickness that's happening. But I'm excited. Golden State is doing a great job. Toronto is going to be there. Portland is going to be there, and we just had news a couple days ago about Portland mutually parting ways with their president and like quickly having to find a new one.
Yeah.
So like you said, the quickness of it is definitely part to be concerned about. But I'm going to uh, table that one and be happy regardless because it is growing. Um, but at what cost,
Right.
you know?
Because
But
if the product declines, owners are going to start backing out, you know?
exactly,
So
exactly.
I'm always one that believes fix home first. It's so many issues that the
Yes,
WNBA needs to fix before adding more chaos and more players, to the pot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Fix home first. It's so many things that need to be changed. But
absolutely.
you want to bring in five teams in 6 years. It just, to me, it seems like a lot quickly. I am glad that the WNBA is expanding and people want to watch women's basketball. I'm ecstatic about that, but it just makes me very worrisome.
Yeah, and that's definitely respectable
Yeah.
to have that concern. But with that being said, we're going to get up out of here, y'all. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Keeping It 9450, codename WBB. This has been a great one. Also, again, shout out to our sponsors, SeatGeek. Make sure at a WNBA game or at a concert, make sure you hit up SeatGeek. Use the code the 9450 to get $20 off. I want to give a quick shout out, to everybody out there that's listening. Shout out to, just everybody that champions the game. And you guys know who you are. Um, Shout out to Yulo. Shout out to Da. He got Austin with him this week, so definitely shouts out to my nephew right there. But Anything, you have before we, do our little ending credits or whatever?
No, I just hope everyone's safe. Have a good, I don't celebrate Independence Day, but if you do, have a great Independence Day.
Hey, we'll leave it at that. Make sure you follow the 9450 on YouTube at the 9450, at the 9450 on Twitter, at the 9450 underscore on TikTok and Instagram. Make sure you follow Lo on Twitter at Lolo Bike. Also follow her on TikTok and Instagram at Hoops with Lo. She has great content from basketball all the way to her. Like she is growing some amazing, like I want some of that lettuce that you got. You got tomatoes yet?
They're coming in.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. We need some of that. We need some of that. I'm talking about straight up fresh. So shout out to you for sure, for that. And also, you know, shout out to the best W, Jay, Nick, Wally, we'll check y'all out tomorrow. When this come out, we'll check y'all out tonight.
Right, right.
So, with that being said, peace, blessings to everyone. Love is love. Peace out, y'all.